Welcome to Women Inspired. I'm your host, Linda Ugelow, and in this show you're going to get an inside look on how changemakers, artists, healers, and entrepreneurs put their dreams into action. Today's guest is Courtney Daniel. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you.
So, Courtney, you make personalized, handmade cards for business owners so that they can stand out to their clients and customers and peers, really, to create really awesome relationships.
Yes.
That's really amazing, and I know it's something that I always feel I should do and never get around to doing. So how'd you get the idea?
Well, when I worked as a celebrity personal assistant, the clients, they would receive gifts, sponsorships, just things. And for me, I felt like the least thing you could say was thank you. So as a busy person in the industry, is fast paced, you don't have time to sit down and think out a thoughtful message. So I just added that to my list of tasks, and I started to send out the thank yous for the employer on whom I was working with at the time. And at some time I would create the thank you cards as well, just to kind of put their personality behind it. So once the person would receive it, it'll be like, oh yeah, this is their personality. Oh yeah, I can see them sending this type of card. So that's how I came up with the idea, and it's combining my passion of design.
Wow, that's really amazing, because probably most people who send gifts to a celebrity never expect to hear back from them.
Right.
And they must be over the moon when they get a response with something that's so personal. It's like, wow, that must make them feel special. And I'm sure they turn into raving fans after that.
Yes, exactly.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not a celebrity assistant anymore. You are full-time in this job.
Yes. In my job where I help businesses create unique ways to say thank you to their clients, to help them bond in a way that they haven't before, which will ultimately increase their bottom line. It'll create the raving fans, and it'll help them be seen as the expert in their industry. Yeah.
So how does that process go?
So normally the client will contact me and we would talk. And for me, it's more personal, just getting to know their personality and what they would like to see, their vision. And I would, come back with those details with them, maybe like a draft or something of the card that I was going to create. And they approve it, and we move forward. And a special thing that I've done too is to do a handwritten message instead of it being pre-typed, and make it more personable, more memorable. It's something that they won't throw away once they receive that handwritten message on the inside.
So, excuse me for my ignorance, but are you making like a single card, or are you making a card that they can use for they can send to any of the people that they want? So
in general, it may work as like a thank you would be the same design from this particular company, person, entrepreneur. But when it comes down to the birthday cards, that's when you get specific and you drive into the person on who's going to receive it. So if, say for instance, if you like butterflies and your color is purple, I want to make sure that I incorporate that in my design so that they'll feel special when they receive it. It's nothing they've ever seen or received before.
So it's not just a card, it's a gift.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes. The gift that keeps on giving.
That's incredible. That's great.
Yeah.
So so you had this idea. How did you get started? Like, I'm sure, people who are watching or listening may have their own ideas and wonder, well, where do I even begin? How did you begin?
For me, I've always loved to design. I've always wanted something that stood out, creative, one of a kind. I didn't want my hard work to be thrown away, so I always wanted to make sure that the recipient held on to it with the memories. And for me, I just started putting what I envisioned in my head, I just started, I don't even draw it out. I just put it together. I put the colors together. I can see the color scheme based on the feedback I would get from the client, and just bring it to life.
So it's a whole creative process for you.
It's a very creative process, and I enjoy doing it. Yes.
And so then where you have this artistic bent and gift,
Yes.
and how did you begin to bring that into the marketplace? How did you go about finding your customers?
Oh, it wasn't easy. It's one of those things, you know, it's kind of like when you're trying to sell stationery, the companies, they're like, oh, we have stationery. Oh, we don't need that. So for me, in the beginning, it was kind of discouraging, you know, because I was like, Courtney, is your idea just a hobby? Or is it going to be something that you can really turn into a business and profit from? And then you're actually sharing what you really love to do, and people appreciate that. So I had to kind of think of a creative way, and I just started doing surveys. I started asking the people that were around me, like the business owners, like, hey, do you send out thank you cards? It's kind of started like that, just to see what their reaction was. And if it was a no, and I kind of like asked why or why not. And at that moment, I didn't see that it was the time to sell. I was just getting my, you know, just taking my surveys so that once I went back home, I would know the answers on which I received and how to go back and approach it a different way. So I really had to be creative, because stationery envelopes, that's not something easy to say, you know, it's not
So
easy
then
to
how
sell.
did you get people interested? What was what gave you the pathway in?
Yeah. So what I did, I just started I started making cards. I would research companies like law offices, dentists. I would find the admin assistant, put her name on the front of the card. It says, hello, Sally Walker. And then on the inside, I would just write out my pitch, and I just started mailing them out. And from that, I was able to get some recipients, and I'm like, hey, this will work. And it's a lot of follow-up. It's just, you know, you just don't stick it in the mail and get that phone call. You have to follow up and be consistent in making sure that you get either a yes or no. And the no's that I got, it was like, not right now, so I'll call them back later. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is such a key point for everybody who goes into business for themselves, or even if they're working for someone else. How do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with overcoming getting discouraged?
You know, I think for me, it's like that motivating factor, because it's something that, as I said before, the no means not right now. It doesn't mean no means no, you know, as when your mom told you no means no, she really meant it. So it's like one of those, not right now, I'll come back to you. And that's what I took it as. I took it as, okay, I'll put you on the list to follow up within 3 to 6 months and see if we can revisit this. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens, like, once you have some customers and they're really happy?
Yeah.
Does that help spread the word, or how does that support the business rolling forward?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I would, once they, you know, send me the messages, Courtney, this is great, this is awesome, I request testimonials. And that's something that I can take and put on my website to show that, one, not only am I getting clients, but two, what I'm doing for them is actually working. Because ultimately what I would like to create is to be able to have the client to put that heartfelt message inside the card and send it to their clients, and it's received very well. And that client then talks to their friends, their family, and before you know it, they're working for you. They're working for you. So they're telling everyone about the awesome service that you have and provide.
So what kinds of things have you heard from your clients? You know, is there any stories that you can share with us?
Well, yeah. So one, I did a car dealership, which you hardly car dealership. Yeah. So you hardly ever get a thank you from a car dealership. You get the first bill, and it's like, hey, okay, here you go, thanks. So she said that it was well received. They would call, and that's big when someone picks the phone up to call. to say that thank you so much for the card that you sent me. I've never received a card from a car dealership before. This is awesome. So at that point, when I start to hear stories like that, where you're touching, you're pulling on the heartstrings, and it's meaningful, I know that it's working. It's working. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to give advice to somebody who has a passion for something, an idea, and they wonder, should I take this step? What would you tell them?
Yeah. So for me, I am an introvert to the heart. No one would ever believe it, but I so am. And I think that's why I had a slow start with my business, because I would hide behind the computer and just hope that someone would find me, or I'll get that email one day and it says, hey, I want to work with you, but they've only seen my work. They've never seen my face. I mean, it may be here and there, but it was never like that personal interaction. So I felt like, the longer I hid, the longer it would take to get my business off the road. So for someone who needs that push, I just say do it. We're not promised tomorrow, and you don't want to age, and look back 5 years later saying, oh, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, because that's the regret you're going to have for the rest of your life. So, even if you start small, I believe in starting small. I believe in starting in your local community. If it's something that, you can get your community behind, that's excellent, because once your community talks and raves about you, that's awesome, because that's where you are. That's where you are 24/7. So just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I know for me, something that was really important is having a community of people who are also wanting to take their ideas and put them into action and create something. And in fact, you and I know each other from an online business course that we took together, and we started that, a year and a half ago?
Yes, yeah.
So it's really kind of cool to see how your business has grown. Yes. I feel the same way about, where the distance I have come myself too. And how important was that to you, to have other people around that you could just see taking the steps, who are sharing their frustrations or their wins? What part did that play for you?
It played a major part, because you see the people that are taking the steps and moving forward, but here I am, in my shell, Mrs. Shy or whatever. So I had to remove that title or that label of introvert from over my head, or to, just step outside of my comfort zone, because I'm like, if they can do it, so can I. So it was like another motivating factor too, because I just didn't want to be the one where I check Facebook or check the email, and next thing you see, Sally may have been in the same position that you are, but now she's really doing it big. And then, I could have did the same thing and took those steps where, we learn together. The one thing most business owners say is to start where you are. You have to start where you are. And although it sounds cliche, it is really true. And I had to really start believing that and start where I am.
And that's okay.
It is. It really is okay.
Yeah, I also have noticed in talking to people that things usually take quite a bit longer than we expect them to. And we have to, build a certain capacity to tolerate that.
Yeah. The patience, I think that's another thing as well, is having that patience. Because, you may see someone it seems like overnight, but you didn't see their hustle and their grind that they had to do all those long nights and those years to get to where it is. So it did seem like that flower bloomed overnight, but actually it didn't.
It didn't.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up another question I have. So let's say you do see other people moving ahead. A lot of people feel jealousy, envy, maybe they're not good enough. How do you approach that issue?
Honestly, I used to feel that way. And it used to keep me where I was, behind the computer, typing, and no one ever knew who I was. But I had to start taking that and use it as a push. You know, it's kind of like when you see that kind of stuff on Facebook or in your email, you use that as a push because they share their story of how they used to be maybe in the same position or even not worse of where some people may be. And it's like, hey, if they can come out of it, why can't I? Why can't I use all the I say it's negative energy of saying I can't, and say I can, and start changing, speaking those positive things in your life. And it's the mindset. So, yeah, I use it as motivation.
That's cool. So what fires you up now?
Oh, that's funny. So what fires me up is a good song, a good dance song. I love to dance. And in that moment, Linda, I feel like I can let go. I don't have to worry about any judgment. I don't have to worry about anything. I can just dance and just be free and be me. And then I can come back to the task at hand. So that's what really gets me. It's just you need those moments.
I need those moments too. I'm totally with you. That's my go-to.
Yes.
Is getting up and dance because that's my background. Yeah. And I know that it changes the chemistry in your body, and there's been research about it, and it works.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yes.
And so what feels like is next for you in your business? Where do you feel like you're headed towards?
Big things are happening. Unexpected things are happening. For me, it's just to continue to share my message and continue the momentum on which I am on, and know that if there's just to share my story, just so it may be encouraging that one person who is on the fence or they're right there and still, tuggling with should I or shouldn't I, for them to just look at me and be encouraged and be inspired and say, yes, you can move forward. Put all of those things behind and move forward, because someone needs to hear your story. Someone needs to hear from you, and they're just waiting. Don't make them wait too long.
Yeah. So I'm really curious. Were you the kind of child that was always making things? Like, what did you love to do when you were a little girl?
I did. I was kind of a tomboy. So I would climb trees and things like that. But as I started to get older, I write a lot. I had a pen pal, which when we moved from the small city in Georgia to the big city of Atlanta, I would write her. So I would just write and write and write. And that's how we would communicate. So I feel like that's one thing that has really made me want to share with business owners and the community of how staying personally connected is very important, and that's something that was instilled in me when I was smaller. But
that's
I really
beautiful.
That. Yeah.
Very old-fashioned, we might think, but very connecting too.
Yes.
Like how, for myself, I rarely even fetch the mail. My husband does it because I think, there's nothing in it for me, really. But you're trying to change that, aren't you?
Exactly. It's still, you can still get a piece of handwritten mail, and you're gonna pull that out and put everything else aside and read that message. And it's very important to stay connected, because we need people in our lives. And just to say hi, I was thinking about you, could really change someone's day. It can even put that person who was on the fence, give them that push that they needed to put them like, hey, I'm doing it. I can't look back. I'm not looking back. So you just never know how you can change someone's life through a handwritten message.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good just thinking about it. So one of the things I like to do on this show is have a wild card pick of some kind of attribute or I guess attribute is a good word. Okay. And I'd love for you to just pick one and just riff on it however you want. So
okay, here we go.
Put your hand in and let's see what happens.
Moment of truth here. Celebration. Oh yeah, I like to celebrate. So to me, celebration would be back to me dancing. I just really love to dance. I feel like it's just me. It's just expressing who I am. And sometimes I get my boys around and we get in this circle. We turn on a song and we just go at it. And it's just being able to spend that time with them and celebrate whatever moment it is. It doesn't matter. Just being in the presence of my sons or my family, we can celebrate that, because sometimes we don't have those moments to celebrate with the people that we really love. So whenever I can celebrate, I celebrate.
Sounds like you're into living well.
Yes.
Having good moments.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
that's what your business is about,
Yes.
is creating these good moments.
Yes, absolutely.
Spreading joy.
Yes. All over.
All over.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's just lovely.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, like, if you were to start again,
Yes.
like this business, like you
Yes.
said you were very introverted, if you were to go back to the beginning, is there anything that you would do differently? So to jumpstart it, or
Yes.
like if you were going to mentor somebody?
Yes, I would definitely say to not hide behind your skills and your talents. I would have put myself out there more. I would have told people more about what I did and how I could help and what I had to share, because it's taken me a while to get to the point where I'm comfortable and where I feel now, if I become vulnerable, that's okay. Because in the beginning, I didn't think it was okay to share, things that were personal, and my backstory. So I think I would change that. I would just go for it and didn't care what others thought of me. It's because I just wanted to spread my message and share my message.
Well, you bring up two really interesting things. One is feeling vulnerable.
Yes.
Like, what do you see as the importance of being vulnerable? And the other one, well, I may still remember it, is, what did you say? Well, let's start there, and it'll come back to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I've always been like the quiet person, the type of person that dealt with things on the inside. You didn't let them out because, you just never knew it. You didn't want that judgment. But now that I share the vulnerability, I feel like I'm helping someone. It's like being able to help someone to say, hey, okay, I can relate.
Okay, so being vulnerable is like allowing people to relate to you.
Yes.
By hearing what your backstory is, or things that you have struggled with, just like you're sharing right now.
Right. Absolutely, yes.
That's cool. And the second part, which you did remind me of, is this shift, which I think is so key, about lessening your concern about what people think of you.
Yes.
Because aren't we trained to want people to like us and try to do everything so that we're likable? But that doesn't always jive with getting ahead and getting traction in business. What do you think about, what thoughts come to your mind?
I think that if you can't be true to who you are, and if people can accept you for who you are, then you don't need them in your space. Because when you have to alter who you are to please someone else, you're not being true to who you are. And that's not you. And it shows, after a while, you're able to see that this is not me. It doesn't feel right. You're not authentic. And I had to learn that as well. Just be who you are, and you're not concerned about what others may say, because you're going to draw the people who really appreciate you for you, the person, and for you and your skills. You're going to draw those people to you, and those that are not drawn to you, they weren't meant for you.
So we don't need to have everybody like what we do, or to get what we do, or understand why we're doing it. Just we do it and just trust that those people who are meant to help or meant to serve are going to resonate with.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that.
Yes. Yes.
That's beautiful. So I know that you have created a special gift for our listeners and viewers. Can you tell us what you have?
Yes. So I created a special gift. It's the 15 go-to companies to order or to purchase elegant, custom, and personalized gifts for your clients. So I put together a quick resource that you can use so you're not searching the internet for companies that you have right at hand for when you want to make that first impression with your clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or a continuing impression, like they've done something has, special has happened
Yes.
that you feel grateful for, and you want to say thank you in a real personal way.
Exactly.
And send them a gift.
Yes.
And then you don't have to think, oh, but what do I get?
Right, exactly. So I've kind of helped you with that and put it together for you.
I need this.
Yes.
I'm gonna go get that.
Yes, please do.
I'm always thinking, I had this one person that kind of, took an extra mile with me.
Yes.
And I really wanted to send a gift, and it took me 3 weeks
Oh, wow.
to figure out what it was going to be.
Yes. Oh, wow.
And so I am really looking forward to having a list
Yes.
of places that I can just check out and say, okay, this is going to be it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're kind of like being our personal assistant by giving us this little...
Yes, it seems like I can't get away from being that personal assistant. But I love it, though. I mean, it's just a part of who I am. It's just, if you have a quick resource, I have a resource I could share, I could do it. I love to do it. Yeah.
So what didn't I ask you about that you would love, that you wish that I had asked you?
Oh, good question. I don't know, Linda. I think that you've hit the nail on the head with all the questions. I thank you for inviting me here, and I just thank you for the opportunity. So I feel like you've done all the you've asked all the questions.
Yeah. Well, I've known you for all this time. We have mostly an online
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
We met in person once.
Yes.
And I was so amazed, how much more information I got today into your background and how your whole business has developed. And
Yes.
the mindset that you have is so inspiring because you are undeterred.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that's a key ingredient
Yes.
for being an entrepreneur is to be undeterred.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for being inspiring for all of us.
You're welcome.
Oh, oh,